Birshus, Rabbi Scheiner, the Rosh Kollel, Rabbi Korobkin, the Mordechai of Thornhill, Choshev Rabbonim, Kollel members, patrons and friends. Shh. Mendel. Thank you. I arranged that with Mendel. He said I could do that to him. Welcome to the annual Patrons Dinner for Kollel or Yosef. I've been given the privilege and the honor to make a few remarks at the beginning of this evening. And by popular demand, I will not be giving a Devar Torah. I will leave that to the more eminently qualified rabbis who will be speaking later on this evening. Rather, my comments will be of a personal nature. And although much of what I will say, you all already know, but there comes a time when we need to bear witness to those things that are self-evident and apparent. You know, it's an interesting thing. When I was preparing my remarks for this evening, I was forced to think and to wonder and to ponder and reflect upon my relationship with the Rosh Kollel and the Kollel and how it impacts upon my life, and not just to go through the motions of showing up at the Kollel, of coming to a shiur, of being there for davening, but to really think, what does this mean in my life? What is the impact that it has upon my life? And one thing that I'm sure of is that we should never ever take anything for granted. Periodically we should think about why this Kollel and the Rosh Kollel is so special and integral in our lives and to our lives. And we should always remember to express our hoda'ah to the Rabbanu Shalom that we are zocheh to be a part of this wonderful institution. Kollel or Yosef is a huge success, and a part of that success is due to the really good relationships that the Kollel has with Rabbi Korobkin, the Bayit, and the members of the Bayit. So here are some of my thoughts. I see the Kollel as being a real Makom Torah. It's a place of emes, a place of spirituality, of safety, sanity, a place of security. And in a secular world that has really gone mad and has lost its way, the Kollel is a rock and a foundation upon which one can hold fast. As we are battered and hammered by the outside influences, fears, uncertainties of what goes on in the world, the Kollel stands to nurture and guide us in our daily lives. I've been a part of the Kollel since its very inception, working very closely with Warren Newfield and John Kaplan, the major founding benefactors of the Kollel. And a great deal has been accomplished since those early days, and without doubt, much more will still be achieved. The Kollel provides learning on all levels and in all formats. Chavrusa, Shirim, Divrei Torah, Divrei Musar, daily Shirim on Chumash, Navi, Halacha. There's a very popular Lunch and Learn program. There's the Father and Son Learning program, and so on. And all of this takes place in an environment of Kedusha, warmth, and caring. Over the years, the Kollel has grown into a major force of Yiddishkeit in our community. And within these walls, there rages on a daily basis the Talmudic discussions where disagreement and contrary positions are debated and argued, but all are done l'shem shemayim. All are conducted in a manner that is l'kavod HaTorah, and it is truly a Kiddush Hashem. All of this exists not in a vacuum. It exists because of an amazing Rosh Kollel, Rabbi Mordechai Scheiner, and the wonderful young Kollel Jungeleit. Rabbi Scheiner, a humble, quiet, modest rabbi, whose outward demeanor belies the dedication, power, and strength of his Torah, never wavering from the emes of Torah, and what a source of strength this is for us. Thank you, Rabbi Scheiner. So I encourage all of us to increase our level of involvement with the Kollel and our commitment to the Kollel. Its growth will allow us to grow. Its strength will be our strength. Continue to be involved and stay involved. Continue to invest time, energy, and effort, and to give back to a Kollel that is the mainstay of our community. If we are being honest and real, and if our goal in life is to come closer to Hashem, to do His Ratzon, then we have been given the means and the opportunity and a huge bracha to achieve that goal. Let us make sure that we fully utilize this gift. I now have the privilege to call on the Rosh Kollel, Rabbi Mordechai Scheiner, to address us with Divrei Torah.
Shus, Rabbanim HaChashuvim, and all of you gathered here today, welcome, and thank you for coming. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the Torah on Har Sinai, He chose us a location, a Midbar Shemama, a desolate desert with no life, hard rocks, sand, snakes and scorpions maybe. The Aruch LaNer, the Goyen of Yaakov Ettlinger, points out, if a person was to welcome a celebrity, a special guest, you would choose a location, maybe a garden, maybe a valley with a river, maybe you'll put up some backdrop, some scenery, maybe have some music in anticipation of the special occasion. And yet here, the most important event in the entire history of the world, where in his language, the Knisas HaShechina El Shar HaOretz, the entrance of the Shechina into the gates of this world, the Torah is being given. A desert, a Mizbar Shmama. Where's the kavod and the honor of the Shechina and the Torah? What's pshat? So he says, in fact, the exact opposite is true. The lesson is that the Torah in itself, the Shechina dwelling on Har Sinai, is the source of all life and bracha. At that moment, like he says, there were flowers. There was grass. The world smelled the fragrance, besamim. There was life. Through the Torah itself. As he says, Hashchina ba'atzma, the Shechina in itself, Hespika lahapich es hashmama, was enough to turn over the desolate to a garden, to Gan Eden. Any outside factor would only but detract from the beauty of the Torah itself. Now this is a lesson. We don't have to dress up the Torah HaKadosha. The words of the Torah itself, the Psukim, the Mishnayos, the Talmud, the Divrei Musar, every word in itself is the source of all chayim, life, bracha, parnasa, beauty, tainig. Everything lies within. You don't have to sell Torah. You don't have to dress it up. It sells itself. Chazal say, Kol Godel V'lo Yosef. The voice on Har Sinai got stronger and stronger and never stopped. Rav Shimon Schwab explains, it says that Moshe Rabbeinu translated the Torah to 70 languages. The Torah was actually written on rocks on the entrance to Eretz Yisrael in 70 languages. What was the purpose of writing it in 70 languages? Klal Yisrael spoke one language. They were the one learning the Torah. At that time, they spoke Lashon HaKodesh. What was the purpose of translating the Torah into 70 languages? And he says a beautiful thought. That the Torah wasn't given just for that generation. The Torah was given, the same words of the Torah are relevant for the 3,000 years that it's been here. Over the entire continent, in different countries, different cultures, they all understand and are able to appreciate every single word of the Torah itself. When Moshe Rabbeinu explained the Torah in 70 languages, he was bringing out this aspect that the Torah is relevant in all 70 languages, in all 70 cultures. And every single person, if a person has an issue, the Torah talks to him. You have a question, you could find it within the Torah. The Torah is self-explanatory to every individual. I happened to chance on an article, which I wish to share with you. I found it in the Mishpacha, but he writes about an article that came out in the Jewish Weekly as President Obama visited a conservative synagogue in Washington, D.C. And the in-house clergy guy, as he writes here, Gil Steinlauf, had the honor to take him around to give him a grand tour of the premises. So they saw the main sanctuary. And then they came to a place which he described as the Beit HaMedrash, the house of study. And he writes in his own language, this is what I told him. This is what Gil Steinlauf told Mr. Obama. Told him, it is far more than a library, but a place where people come to study Torah in Chavruta with a study partner in a very special relationship. He got it 100% right. Mr. Obama got a little bit interested, and he asked him to elaborate on the concept of Chavruta. Is it obligatory? What is this? So he says, I explained beautifully. I explained that the value of Torah study is considered the most basic and essential Jewish act. He's feeling all good about himself, Mr. Gil Steinlauf. He wasn't expecting the next question. No, how many people are coming in here to study? Not in those words. I know that your children have come to Hebrew school and study. What about the adults? Is there a requirement or expectation? Do they come here to study as well? After all, as you said, it is the most basic and essential value, an essential Jewish act. It was a little caught off guard and answered in a long, wordy answer. Well, in our times, it's difficult to bring many people to Torah by holding an obligation, an expectation over them. It's not going to work. Instead, think about the metaphor of this moment. We are standing here together. We are a chavruta in front of the Torah, and so on and so forth. This is the goal of our Beit Medrash. I invite Gil Steinlauf to come to Thornhill. Rabbi Goldman will set him up with a chavrusa. We have today in our times in Thornhill, over 200 people coming weekly to learn, whether it's in a chavrusa or in a shir, not to hear any fancy speeches, just to hear the Dvar Hashem, the words of the Chumash. Vayidaber Hashem al Moshe Leimar, Ezer Mekayman, words, Mishnayos, in a very special relationship. This is what the essence of the Jewish people is all about. Chazal say, when two people are studying together, I will give you a blessing. The Torah itself gives a blessing. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the bracha, the main bracha that comes from the Torah, is peace and the healthy relationship in a family. And it is the wives who encourage their husbands to come and participate. Many people have told me that their wives said, why you only have a chavrusa once a week? It changes the beauty of the home. The Torah itself brings chayim, it brings life, it brings beauty, it brings tainug, pleasure, and it brings bracha. All of you that participate and partner with the Kollel in order to make such a thing happen are part of this bracha. I don't know what Joe Tenenbaum is doing upstairs, but something strange is going on. Last year, by chance, the Kollel's dinner was on the yard site of Mrs. Esther Elka Kaplan. And this year, it's on the birthday. We just picked a date that was open in the bayit. I'm sure she's taking great pleasure in her family and her grandchildren and the bracha that she has received. And the many grandchildren. On Esther Crescent, there are over 100 children currently there. Well over. So I just want to say thank you. Many of you, I'm not going to mention names, but have been a chelek and a partner, leiv v'nefesh, totally, completely involved on many different levels and in many different areas. Every single person, unique relationship with this chavrusa and with the Kollel is creating this bracha, this tremendous growth and success. It is due to this wonderful community and the Rabbonim that lead it. And may you continue to have success in all your endeavors, and bracha, and chayim, and tainug, and pleasure and joy, the Torah that we have. Thank you.